Hi, this is Andrew Bridgewater with the second part of my presentation for World Mental Health Day, all about enhancing your resilience and mental well-being at work. And in the first part of this presentation, I talked about the background to this. I've overviewed the session. I've talked about a definition of resilience, and I've shared my personal story of stress and depression and the recovery from that in 2006. And I've also talked about a different understanding about how our personal psychology works. And I've referenced the works of Shakespeare, and particularly a piece from Hamlet, which sheds some helpful light on that. And I left you with a question at the end of that first piece, when I'd given you a dilemma. I said, would you rather have £1 million today or a penny doubled in value every day for the next 30 days? So that's a penny, 2p, 4p, 8p, 16, 32, 64, etc. for 30 days. And in fact, most people just ask that question ordinarily, would plumb for the million. But if you have an understanding of the philosophy of the slight edge, that comes from the book by Jeff Olson, Slight Edge, Secret to a Successful Life, you'll know that actually the penny for 30 days compounds to £5.5 million, just over £5.5 million, which is a massive amount of money, much more than we would immediately think. And this is how nature works. And this is how effective change works, and particularly lifestyle change works. And I've, as I say, experienced this from firsthand, having made the lifestyle changes that I needed to in order to lose 3.5 stone and dump depression and the use of antidepressants, which I'd been using, as I said in the last presentation. I'd been using those for 18 months and had to come off them carefully and gradually. So the point is, once I started to make some simple changes daily, these compounded to produce a massive difference, and over a relatively short period of time. So these are the overview changes that I made in terms of physical resilience. There are more changes than these, which I've described in detail in my book, Fit for Business: How to Deal with Stress and Create a Healthy Work-Life Balance. But I just wanted to overview four of the most important ones, so that you can get started with these and start to experience the benefits and the results in your own life. So the first one is all about proper hydration, and I'll go into that in a moment. It's more than just drinking a large amount of water, and actually too much water can be as dangerous as too little. Um, the second is what I call alkalizing to add vitality, and I'll explain that in a little while. Detoxing gently, not radically, and quietening the mind every day. And when you compound those simple changes in penny-like fashion every day, you will see a massive wave of change in just a few weeks. But like the penny, the changes have to do the work. So if you know them but you don't do them, they're no use to you. So if you're listening, watching this, I do urge you to put these things into practice and watch the results in your mind and body very quickly. So the first question on this one I'd ask you is, how much water do you currently drink a day? Just think about that for a moment. And how much water do you currently drink a day? I'm talking water, not fruit juices, alcohol, any other drinks, tea, coffee, water. And proper hydration is absolutely key, because each of the trillions of cells in our bodies needs water to provide it with basic electro energy. Nothing else will do. And many people are taking medications for simple complications of dehydration. They're experiencing symptoms, so they're taking medications, but really all they've got is severe dehydration. It's a very common problem. And this isn't my thinking here. This is the research of many people, including a medically trained doctor, Dr. Batman Helji, who qualified as a doctor at a London medical school. And he found himself in an Iranian prison, and could only treat the prisoners with water, and had some amazing results with that, which are all explained in more detail in my book, Fit for Business. But 2 to 3 litres of water a day is what you should be drinking, because the simple truth is, if you exercise regularly, and particularly in the summer, in the warmer months, you'll find that you're losing at least 2 litres a day through natural perspiration alone, And if you're not replacing that water, your system is more of a stagnant pond than it is a flowing river. And that's when toxicity builds up and all sorts of other problems can occur. So 2 to 3 liters needs a bit of conditioning. And I don't want you to go beyond 3 liters because your body needs an essential, carefully managed composition of essential salts in order to be healthy. So don't overhydrate. But I have a particular ingredient that I use that I've come across. It's dried wheatgrass. Now, some of you may have come across wheatgrass shots, for example, sometimes used by students to avoid scurvy, because a wheatgrass shot can basically give a student or anybody taking it 10 doses of vegetables in one go. So it's very, very healthy, very alkalizing. But the benefit of combining it with water is that you get the benefits of hydration compounding with the benefits of alkalizing, which is what I want to talk to you next about. We're born with a blood pH of around 7.365, and evidence suggests that as we get older, as we grow up into adulthood, our blood pH drops back very slightly and becomes slightly more towards the acidic, but not acidic, because that would be very unhealthy for us. But the point is that in order to be optimally healthy, energetic, manage stress effectively, our blood pH should be at or around 7.365. Now, you don't need to get it tested. Your body and mind will tell you how your blood pH is doing by the level of energy you have, the ailments that you suffer or not, the extent to which you're able to relax, and so on. And in order to enjoy a healthy life and to manage stress properly, we need to hydrate, then eat more alkaline foods and less acidic foods in order to achieve a balance. Now, I'm not advocating for a second that anybody goes silly with this, so don't try and win the million with this in slight edge fashion. You've just got to go at it very, very gradually and make these changes slowly. So excess stress is actually acid forming. If you've ever had an argument or disagreement with somebody and felt that acidy feeling in the stomach, that's what's going on. And also acid forming is over exercise. So when we over exercise, we can generate adrenaline and cortisol, the two stress hormones, which cause us to hold on to fat round the middle. So under exercising or over exercising is not good. What we need to be able to do is exercise in the appropriate heart rate range, which is 60 to 80% of our maximum. And again, my book will explain much more about how to do that, but very simply, that's gentle sweating, or to a point where you can carry out a conversation but feel a little bit breathless, but not too breathless. That's roughly where that exercise heart rate range is. And in order to mitigate the effects of stress, relaxation can be incredibly helpful. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the context of one of the other slight edge changes. And these are the kind of dietary issues here. So things that are acid forming in terms of nutrition, you won't be surprised to hear, are red meat, alcohol, eggs, sugar and dairy, and artificial sweeteners, as well as cheeses. Now, I'm not advocating you go give these up, but simple moderation is what's really important. And increasing the consumption of green vegetables, salads, things like avocado, olive oil, and some fruit in moderation, because there is sugar in fruit, but just taking it in moderation. None of this will surprise you. It's healthy eating, which will actually enable your body to thrive on live foods, and help to rid the system of toxins. So the point here is that detoxing really needs to be done gently. And I picked up some really powerful ideas from a book called Reverse Aging by Sang Wang. Do have a look at it. And he postulates that aging is the result of the accumulation of acid wastes in the body. Now, interestingly enough, our bodies acidify when we die. Acidosis equals death. You might remember that, seeing that on the slide, or acidosis mentioned on the preceding couple of slides. But the point is that in order to detox gently, we need to gradually reduce exposure to toxins. And these typically come in the form of caffeine, alcohol, fizzy drinks, particularly the diet varieties loaded with artificial sweeteners, which are more toxic than sugar. um, and processed foods, which contain E numbers and additives to keep the food fresh. And our bodies pay much more attention to the removal of toxins than they ever do to the removal of fat and excess weight. So, if you want to lose some weight and to be at an optimal level of weight, health, and lifestyle, then it's really important you gradually reduce your toxin intake. And I've mentioned the artificial sweeteners, additives, and sugars. So, gradually reducing those will have a massive impact on your health, your well being, your ability to tolerate stress, and increase your stress threshold and help you to become more resilient. And the fourth of the lifestyle changes that I'm suggesting, and as I say, there are many more described in my book. I've got a 12-week program, which is outlined in detail in the book and tells you exactly what to do. But something that I use daily is meditation. And the reason I do that is that when we allow our minds to quiet, we're open to inspiration, creativity, and insight. And one of the problems with having a cluttered mind is that we shut off to those things. We're literally too busy churning our personal thinking to be open to new thinking, fresh thinking, and ideas and inspiration that can lead to a breakthrough in terms of the challenges, problems, or situations that we're facing. Um, so I've found a really helpful meditation process from Deepak Chopra, which is a simple 15-minute audio track every day, which I use. It's a different track every day, so I don't get bored with it. And I found that compounded, that added to hydration with wheatgrass, alkalizing, and some simple detoxing daily actually has transformed my life, as I say, along with some of these other simple changes. But you have to do them to benefit. Everybody will probably think, well, that doesn't sound difficult, I could do that. But as I say, when you experience the benefits, you won't want to go back to an old toxic lifestyle with the challenges that that presents. Now, I haven't even mentioned exercise, and I'm a huge fan of exercise. Particularly, I love the book by Henry Lodge and Chris Crowley, Younger Next Year: How to Turn Back Your Biological Clock. Daily exercise, again, slight edge compounding, has a massive effect, and it's even been described as a sort of magic bullet when it comes to stress management and resilience. But as I say, when added to these other changes, you can see that the positive slight edge benefits are huge. And what I want to go on now to talk about are three principles of innate mental health. So I'll keep those for the final part of the presentation, and I'll discuss those with you very soon.